Hi, I'm Krista with Moke the Genius Dog, here with Taiko, the Shiba Inu. Taiko is 17 weeks old now. So this week we introduced heeling, kind of more the getting into heel position and maneuvering around, just going really short distances in the house. So he's really catching on nicely to that. Hi, baby. Another one of the things that we focused on this week was what I had originally thought was his leash avoidance, which yes, he is avoiding the leash, but he made it a lot more clear this week that it was more about body sensitivity than the leash itself, which didn't really surprise me because the whole leash avoidance thing hadn't really made a whole lot of sense since he wasn't getting over it. And when I say leash avoidance, I mean like anytime I would go to leash him up to take him for a walk, go for a training session, he would just kind of avoid it. He would run into the other room. He would be really reluctant to come to me when I called. And so I worked on just counter conditioning it, where I would do something really positive to counteract what he conceived to be a negative thing. So I give him some raw food every day as part of his meal, and it's his favorite part. So every day when I do that, we do it in association with the leash. So I take the food out, I go and I stand over by the leash, I pick it up, I jingle it, I let him hear what's happening, and I call him over to it, and he comes. And so as we did that, it's been several weeks now, maybe even a couple months. It's been a really big thing. It's been our hardest challenge by far. So every day just kind of chipping away at it, doing something positive. So I just let him see the leash, I let him see the food, he comes and eats the food, and then I play with his collar, I clip on the leash, he gets the food. And so it's been progressively getting a little bit better, but this week he started showing, just really communicating in a more clear way that it wasn't just about the leash, it was about his collar. So I have since put him in an old thinner style collar. I mean, it's really only the difference. If the collar I had him in was like this thick and this one's like that. So very minimal difference, but to him, it's been a really big deal. So to help counter that, I'm just using a really minimal collar on him so he's not feeling it so much. And it could be getting worse now just because he's starting to get more of his adult coat. You can see he's really starting to get handsome now. His color's coming in, he's starting to fluff up. So it's really going to be a handsome dog. So I also started kind of putting clothes on him. I found an old sweater that I had crocheted for my cat many years ago, so that fits him perfectly right now. A couple of different little costumes that I had. So when I put that stuff on him, he essentially just freezes. He doesn't think he can move wearing it. So kind of in the next week or two, I'm going to be having him wear that stuff just kind of long term. You know, I might put it on him for like an hour or two at a time when I'm home and I'm able to watch him, and just kind of let him do what he's going to do, offer him some high value treats to encourage him to move. But I'm not going to really force him to do anything. I'm not going to take him for a walk or anything wearing that stuff until he starts to loosen up. But I do want to see where I can put stuff on and he can move and not be so concerned. So sometimes just doing a lot of that stuff and just show him you're okay, because when it first goes on, it can be a little weird. So I want him to just get used to it and loosen up, and then hopefully that will help with just his overall body sensitivity, particularly with the collar and the leash, and just keep chipping away at that. It would be really nice if he could just tell me the best way, but this is kind of just trial and error. And this is why I don't punish him when he does, you know, kind of run from me with the leash, because I know it's something that he's uncomfortable with, and he's not just avoiding me, because he's got an excellent recall. We've worked on that. And so I know it's just something that he's uncomfortable with. And so I've just been doing my best to make it really positive. And some things he gets over within a single session, and other things it takes several months. So like I said, this has been our battle from the start, and we're going to continue to fight it. But you know, I mean, he's just a little over 4 months old, so he's still a baby and he still has a lot to learn, and his body's changing really quickly, which is going to change how he perceives the world and how he feels things. So just going to keep going with that. But our bigger success was with heeling. So I got some video of the first day when we introduced it, doing it on leash, and you'll see he was a little stiff with it, because that was right about the time I was recognizing that it was the collar and leash that were making him really uncomfortable. And so to kind of counter that, and as he got better with it, I've taken the leash off, which not only helps him to learn the position, because there's no way that I'm there kind of holding him back and steering him at all. It's 100% him. But I use the leash in the beginning just to help prevent him from kind of moving away, and I want him to stay in position and not get too confused. So we definitely got past that part. So I'm going to go through with his healing stuff now, just so you can see the progress he made in his first week practicing it. All right, so I'm gonna start teaching Taiko his heel position. So I played around with this a little bit when he was a lot younger, but I didn't really stick with it because he just wasn't quite ready to learn when he wasn't taking food outside and on walks. But now that he is 17 weeks old, he's a little bit more enthused about it, and his brain's kind of ready to start learning that. So the word heel is gonna have several different meanings. It's gonna mean when I'm in a stationary position and I ask him to heel, for him to come and get into the position. And then it's going to mean in motion, for him to stay at my side, whether I'm going forward, back, stopping, pivoting, doing a side step. So pretty much just teaching him to follow my body movement wherever I move to. So I'm first going to start just teaching him how to get into that position. And he has shown a strong tendency to want to walk on my right side. So I've kind of been playing around with getting him a little bit more comfortable on my left. So this is hopefully going to help with that. So when I teach heel position, regardless of what side I plan to walk a dog on the majority of the time, I always teach it for both sides, just so he learns the coordination. And you never know, sometimes you just need to have your dog on the other side, whether it's to maybe avoid another oncoming dog or any other situation, or if something happens, I've had my shoulder flare up before where it forces me to put a dog on the other side. So just to have nice, well-rounded dog, I'm going to teach him both. So I like to start this in a hallway where there's not a lot of room for him to go. And when I have him get into position to get a lot of repetitions, I don't want him to get in the position, out of the position, in the position, out of the position. So using a hallway allows me to move and still have just kind of that nice wall to guide and really help shape the clean positioning. So since he likes the right side, that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to use a food lure. So I'm going to get him facing me. Hey, Taiko, come here, bud. Taiko, come here. Good. So let me actually switch my clicker to the opposite hand. So I'm going to have my leash and my clicker in the opposite hand. So starting him on the right side, I'm going to have my leash and my clicker in my left hand, allowing my right hand to hold that lure. So I'm going to put that treat on his nose. I'm going to take a step back as I lure him, and this is especially important for longer dogs. So this just gives my shoulder more flexibility. So I'm going to have him come back until his hips pass my leg, and then I'm going to turn him in towards me, and then click, and I'll stop him with that treat right next to me to give him that reward. And here's the part where I like the hallway, because I want him to stay next to me. So I'm just going to rotate to face him again, so he never had to move out of position. So treat on his nose, lure him back, turn in towards me, and click. And I'll often click right as he's making that turn, because that's really the most important part of this. So and I also, he's got to go back and behind far enough, because if you try to turn him right at your leg, it's just not going to work. He's going to kind of get stuck and end up out of position. So he's got to go back far enough, and then I always have him turn in towards me, so he's got a target. I want him always looking for my body to position, where if he turns the opposite direction, he's got kind of the whole world out there that can distract him once we get out and about. So then just a lot of repetition like this. And if he gets stuck anywhere, I'll just take a couple steps forward just to encourage that movement. I want him to just keep coming in that position nice and smooth. Good boy. Good job, Taiko. And then to do some repetitions on the other side to keep it even, I just switch over. I'll put my leash and my clicker now in my right hand and have my food lure in the left. So I'm gonna position, so I'm starting facing him. Just do the same exact thing. Have him come back and around, turning towards me, click as he turns. And then after doing some repetition, once he starts anticipating this, I'll take the food lure away. He still needs a couple, but I would take the food lure away and then move my hands and everything exactly the same. And then there's just that slight delay of him actually getting his treat. So I'll try one without because my hand is still scented from it. Come on, buddy. So it'd be just the same. Good boy. And right now, I don't care if he sits or what he does, as long as he's just going through the movement, making that turn. I prefer that my dogs don't sit at the end of this, because a lot of times I want to just get moving or I'm doing different things. So sometimes I just get caught up thinking sit's the answer for everything. And since we do a lot of different tricks and stuff, most of the time I don't want my dogs just stuck in a sit. But totally personal preference there. Depends what your goals are for your dog. Boy. So, and if you don't have a hallway or a double-edged kind of wall like this, then you can just kind of turn around or do the dogs on the same side. So say if I only had this one edge, I could do a repetition of having him come to heel on my right side. And then as I rotate, do the next one where he's coming in on my left side. So he's still staying in that position. Come on, buddy. There you go. Good job. Good job. So I'll keep doing this with him until he starts getting the movement and I can do it without needing the food lure. And then once he's moving nice and smooth, then I'll start throwing in the word kind of right as he's making that turn. I want him to do it when I know he's going to be successful. So I would put it in as he starts that turn, get the food, help him out. Heel. Good boy. And with this, the click and the food, even if he kind of stalls out on that turn, as long as he stays in the general vicinity, I know I can just put that treat right next to my leg and get him back into position really easily. Come on, Taiko. Yeah, good boy. Heel. So I'm like, he's not super enthused to be doing this right now, not giving me too much energy, and that's fine. I'll just use my energy and move my feet a little bit more if needed. You know, once he gets a better understanding, then I'll work to do it more stationary. But for now, I just want him to learn to get in that position, make that turn, there it is, and then come meet me right at my leg. Good boy. All right, so we're gonna demonstrate what Taiko has learned during his first week of heel training. So far we have introduced getting into position, taking a few steps forwards, backwards, having him turn while he's on the outside, stopping automatically when I stop, and doing speed changes. And we've done that on both sides, left and right. So we're gonna see how he's doing after just his first week. And next week, we're gonna be going through everything that he's learned so far and see where he's at with that, because he's made a lot of progress since we first started training. So that'll be a fun one. Stick around. All right, bud, you ready? All right. Taiko, heel. Good boy. Good job. Heel. Okay, finish chewing first. All right, Taiko, heel. Good boy. Heel. Nice. Good boy. And I'm no longer using a food lure with him, just kind of using my hand to point to steer when he needs that help. Taiko, heel. Good boy. There you go. All right, and then on the right side. Good. Ready? Take a heel. Good boy. Heel. Excellent. Good boy. Heel. Good boy. Heel. Good. Heel. Good. Second heel. Good boy. Good boy, buddy. You're doing so good. Since there's so many different elements to teaching a full heel position, it's going to take Taiko a little bit. It may be several weeks or several months, kind of just depending how he takes to it. And he'll be able to do it proficiently inside a lot sooner than he'll be able to do it outside. So it really just depends on the dog's ability to focus in different environments and how much practice and exposure they get. So since he's not going to be ready to demonstrate as soon as we would like, I'm going to have Olive kind of show what the finished product is going to look like once the dog's able to do it independently. They really understand how to follow their body positionings. All right, Olive, you ready? So same as we did with Taiko in the hallway, I'm going to ask her to heel. So we start facing, and she'll be able to do this independently. So Olive, heel. Good girl. So I have my clicker, but I don't actually need it for her since she's already trained and she doesn't need that same type of reinforcement. Olive, heel. All the way, heel. Good girl. So if we go forward, backward, stop, pivot, or sidestep, my expectation is that she's going to follow me and stick nice and close on my side with approximately her shoulders lined up with my leg. So, Olive, heel. Good girl. Good. Heel. Good girl. Heel. Good. Heel. Come on off. Heel. Good girl. Heel. Good. Good job. So she walks primarily on the left, but she's also been taught to do all those same things on the right side as well. Heel. There you go. Good girl. Heel. Good. Heel. Good. Heel. Nope. Back up here. Good girl. Okay. Heel. Good. Heel. Good. Heel. Ah. Good girl. Heel. Nice. Heel. Good girl. Good girl. So that's the basics of the different maneuvers, and then as we get out and about in public, we just want to have just kind of that nice same fluidity where I'm able to call her in nice and tight when needed. Otherwise, I may give her a little bit more room to walk, but our goal is that there's never going to be tension on that leash. All right, good girl.
Side. Good job. Heel. Good job. That's it.
So I just use the one word of heel to mean the same thing for either my right or my left side, but many people choose to use two separate words. For example, Moke knows that heel means the left side and side is for the right side. The goal is that your dog is comfortable being on either side and is able to switch back and forth pretty seamlessly for either safety or convenience.
All right, so if we're working on his body sensitivity, it first became pretty apparent that just the difference in his collars or what he was reacting to. So this is the collar that he had been wearing that he was starting to have issues with. And you can see it's not very thick at all, but I had this other one that was a little bit thinner. So you can see not a whole lot of difference, but to him it made all the difference in the world. Is when he was wearing it.
he just got kind of a little stiff and twitchy. And then when he was on leash, on some of the walks where it really became obvious, it was just kind of as he'd been trotting along and the leash would touch him. He's not going to do it at a standstill. Oh, maybe he will. But he was really just moving away from that pressure in a big way. And you can see he's doing little stress yawns. He would be shaking off frequently. So just kind of anything to get away from that touching him. So for something that he had been a lot more comfortable with previously, that was a big change. So I ordered him a rolled leather collar because sometimes that can fit a little better, especially in the plush coat breeds, where this, you can see it kind of leaves lines on his fur. So the more rolled ones, it'd be like that leash, they just kind of fit under the hair a little bit better and it doesn't damage it as much. So the one I ordered online, it came and it was just way too big. So that went back. And then I pulled out this old puppy collar. That was the collar that I used with Saki, my first Shiba. So we also used this collar when we brought Olive home when she was a tiny puppy. So this collar has helped a lot of our dogs. So then just to help with kind of the overall body sensitivity, tenseness, and you can see just me having this stuff out, like he already knows he doesn't like where this is going. But this is the reason we want to do it, is I want him to loosen up and be more comfortable. So I first started off with this old vest of Saki's from back when he used to do animal shows and do his therapy dog work. So it's way too big for Taiko, but I would just put that on because it's something that fits him kind of snug, you know, the equivalent of like a thunder shirt. And then I would just encourage him to walk and move around with it. And so this one, he would walk a little bit, but he wasn't a big fan of it. He would mostly just kind of stand there and feel sorry for himself. So I went up into my attic and I found this old sweater that I had crocheted for one of my cats. Gosh, probably like close to 20 years ago now, but it fits him pretty well. It was made for a cat, so it's not quite long enough. So he's got kind of a little Winnie the Pooh look with it. But as I left this on him yesterday, he was the most comfortable wearing this of any of the things I put on him. So I just kind of let him wear that for a bit, and he eventually started walking. And then I have just some of his raw diet here. We do the Stella and Chewy's frozen patties. So these are his favorite. So every time he gets these, he just has to do a little bit of work for it. But it's the food he loves the most, so he's most willing to try. So I just encourage him to take a couple steps at a time just to get a bite of food. Taiko, can you come here? I know you don't like it. Come on, bud, give me one step. Come here. Good boy. So at this stage, really just any effort he gives me. He doesn't have to do a lot because I want him to just get loosened up and see that he can move. Good. You can see just wearing this, it feels funny on his fur. You can see his tail's down. He's just not happy about this whole thing, but he will be much happier in the long run once he figures out that he can just be really loose and move. And, you know, it's not like he's wearing a cement jacket weighing him down. Because I checked the fit of it, even though it is made for a cat and it looks a little silly on him, it fits good around the arms and the chest. It's not digging in anywhere. It's not too tight around the neck. It's not squeezing, constricting, or causing him any pain. So I know that it's not anything to do with what he's wearing, just his overall feelings about it. You can see he's just starting to move. So as we do this, you know, I'll give him the food just to kind of get him warmed up, show him that he can move. And then once he starts to loosen up more and more, I'll start seeing if I can get him to engage with some of his toys. So I bought him a couple new interactive toys, which he really likes when he's not wearing the different clothes.
So here's the toys that I bought him that are kind of the interactive. So he's probably not going to do much with it now, but as he loosens up, this will be a really good way for him to just have fun and have another positive association thing where it's not just all about food. So this one is a wand. It's designed as a cat wand, but it works great for him. And then I got another one. It's on a little tug thing. Oh, you want any of that? You can see, starting to show a little bit of interest. This one. Do you want that? Do you want that? Get it. So even though he's not going for it now, I can see at least his expression is a little bit more perked up. So once he gets, again, more comfortable, I want to see him running and jumping just like he does when he's not wearing the stuff. Oh, good boy. So I like that he even just took a couple steps there all by himself. So normally I would leave this on for a little bit, but I want to see if when it comes off, he'll play, just so you can kind of see what his norm is like. So I'll let that go off. I expect him to shake. That's going to be a stress relief. That's how he's going to reset his hair. Oh, there it is. Good boy, buddy. Do you want your toys? Do you want your toys? Get it. Taiko. Get it. Good boy. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. Good. Taiko, drop. Good boy. I just want that. Right. There we go. Read it. Come on. So this is more his normal playful self. So this is the point I want to get him to, but where he can do it, wearing something, whether it's a vest, a jacket, a cute costume, or just whatever collar and leash I want to have on him. So he may not enjoy the process every step of the way, but in the long run, it's going to be worth it for him to get over this so he can just live a nice, long, happy life and be able to just take whatever comes at him. So it's all part of the socialization process. All right, here, let me touch you with gloves. Nope, you're not supposed to eat it, silly. Okay. Yeah, good boy. It's not a toy. You pull it. Oh, Taiko. All right, don't buckle it. Taiko, sit. Good boy. High five.
Such a weirdo. It's a tiny little leak, and he loves it.
Hi, do you think you can not scream at the squirrels, please? Thank you.
Yeah, especially if you guys have, yeah, we have.
Hi, Taiko. Hey, bud.